All right, what's going on? Happy Monday. Something exciting today, something I want to do for a while. We've got a masonry block wall we're gonna pour. Just up on the second level there, right about there. Perfect opportunity to finally get to try out this lay flat hose for masonry block fill. Typically we would taper down to a 2.5 or even a 2-inch hose for doing the block fill, just so that it actually gets in the block cells and not everywhere else, essentially. So I'm going to unfold this thing, get the boom out, and we'll talk about the setup we're going to use here, how, why, and hopefully it works out. So stay tuned, but this should be it should be interesting. I'm a little bit skeptical that this might not slow the flow down quite enough, and it's going to have it's going to be like the flow will be wide and thin. So I think depending on which way the hose is facing in relation to the wall, it could be a good thing or a bad thing, because the masonry block cells are, well, shoot, only about that wide. So we'll see. I'm gonna give this a 50-50 of working. I talked to the guys here, told them we're gonna try it out. If they don't like it, I will swap it out right away, and we'll go back to a 2.5 or a 2-inch whip hose like we normally do. One thing I just realized while topping up the water box here, rested my hand on the water tank. The water tank heater is scorching hot. We are now almost into August. Why is the water tank heater still on? Granted, with these plastic tanks, it doesn't actually get the water that noticeably hot, lukewarm at best, but we'll fix that right now. There's the 2 valves right there, and they go from the engine's coolant system, and they flow back to the hot water tank, or the water tank heater. We don't need that. We don't need hot water this time of year. We don't even need lukewarm water. Problem solved. Now that we're almost into the fall season. Okay, so here's the situation. Rather than just clamping the lay flat hose directly to my 4-inch to 3-inch reducer, what I've found with this lay flat hose, priming through that first bit of gritty stuff, it can be a real bear to get through the hose. I don't know if that's unique to having the 3-inch hose. I know most guys run a 4-inch or a 5-inch lay flat. We elected for the 3, but it can be a bit of a bear to prime. So what I'm going to do, I have a short double-ended 3-inch hose I'm going to put on here. I will prime through that, and once we get the first bit of junk through the boom, I will put the lay flat hose, I'll clamp it onto that little short stubby, and I'll show you the hose I'm talking about. This little short guy right here. And I'll grab my safety mat here too for the back end. While we're up here, and I'll grab my hopper spill containment pool, because we want to look and act like pros, right? And the asphalt is just so new, it will reveal all. Anyhow, I'll pull this thing off, and we'll throw the lay flat on. Yeah, it might be time for some new straps for this air cuff. She's got a few miles on her now. Another while we're in here. With a brand new safety sling. So I'm not a fan of that. That's what happens when somebody hits them with a hammer. No bueno. I always like to choke around as well as pass through the fastening ring. Like so. Hang that right there for now. This is a smaller conform air cuff. The biggest hose it'll fit around is a 4-inch, but it will cuff off as small as a 2-inch. The standard cuff will fit around a 5-inch, but it only cuffs down to as small as a 3-inch, and we often run 2.5 and 2-inch whip hoses here. So this is the hot ticket for us. There we go, beauty. And yes, common with these cuffs, the straps from new, they fasten, they stitch to the outside of the body of the cuff. Well, they tend to rot off, so we just pass them around and loop them right through the cuff. That being said, we could probably switch this over to just a standard safety sling setup, which actually might be on there anyhow. So we'll put some new slings on this thing, as it's getting a little crusty. And you know how it goes. Don't be a dickhead. Use safety pins. We'll turn our cuff on, which is really handy to do from this remote. There it goes, she's cuffing. If there's any mix I could prime directly through the lay flat hose, block fill would be it. But like I said, this little stubby, if I do have to swap that out, if the guys don't like it, they don't like the flow, the way it flows at the end of the hose, I just grab my 3:2 reducer and 2-inch hose, and I'll throw them right on there, and we go back to what we've done for years. So anyhow, I'll get finished getting set up here, and we'll just wait for concrete to show up. Because it's block fill, what I'm actually going to use is oh, that was loud. I use my 2x2 mesh screen. That'll filter out certainly anything that would plug a 3-inch hose, and even almost anything that would plug a 2-inch hose. So very handy to have. Which brings me to the benefit of the lay flat. The benefit for us, we can have flow control like a 2-inch or 2.5-inch whip hose without the chances of plugging, because it effectively is a 3-inch hose and will expand to a 3-inch hose when needed. And when not needed, it just sucks itself right down. It's kind of like the best of all worlds. And a little bit of canola oil, my favorite release agent non-stick hopper coating. Which, judging by the looks of this hopper in its current state, somebody has not been using, because there's a lot of sticking that's been going on apparently. I love this setup. Just PVC pipe, channel it out on the bottom, clamp and fasten the tarp down. We leave that on all the time. And then just a couple clips here. This can be pulled off, or we gotta flip the hopper grate up. Perfect setup. Works really well. You can drape it around. Covers the back panel area. Quick, easy, efficient. So we're just gonna prime with water here. I always pre-lube my barrels, even if mixers and the right concrete isn't on site, because you never know when you're gonna go hit the little boys' room and come back, and the mixer's on the pump, and he's filled your hopper up. So I'll get a little bit of water in there beforehand, just like so. And then when the mixer backs onto the pump, I'll do the same process again. But at least I know I got a little bit of water in there now, so I can get it through in the worst case scenario. Option B is to pull the slurry cap off and put water straight in there. But we don't want to get into that. Work smart, not hard, right? Something like that. All right, so here it is. Just this running wall right here. So I'll try that fancy hose, and if it sucks, I'll bring the other one up with it, okay, and we'll swap it out.
Okay.
I think it'll work.
Yeah?
You tell me. You'll know pretty quick if you like it or not.
We'll see.
We'll see. Put it to the test.
Yeah.
First time for everything. See what we got. Looks a little dry.
I can juice it up.
Yeah. Yeah,
Give
please.
it a bit. It looks a little wetter.
All right, here we go. We'll pump on. So I'm just going to dribble a little bit out the end of the hose here, and then we'll hook up the lay flat. So option A, and then we might revert back to option B, which would then become option A again. 3-inch to 2-inch reducer, 2-inch whip hose. And we'll see how this lay flat works out. If they don't like it, it'll be a good side-by-side comparison, because we'll throw that one on right after and see how it performs for this application. A lot of guys in a lot of markets are probably laughing. They'd never use a 3-to-2 or 2-inch hose off the boom. But for our stuff, block fill especially, it's pretty common. There we go. I'll just dribble a little bit out of the lay flat here. And that first stuff is way too dry, yes, but the driver did slump it up. I'll just open the cuff, let a little bit fall through. All right, we're good. Let's head up top. So you got option A on the boom and option B if you don't like option A. I think we lucked out because the way the hose is narrow, it'll be parallel with the wall rather than perpendicular.
Yeah.
See how it stays sucked in. Unless you turn the volume up, it'll expand out, so it slows the flow down. It actually looks really good. I'm impressed so far. I'm curious though if the hose were orientated the other way, how it would do.
Yeah.
I think it would still be narrow enough to get in the cells, but... Hose come back to the front. You get the camera ready, that's fine. That's what they're made for. I actually sucked one of these back through the boom one.
Oh, really?
Attached to the sponge, yeah.
Oh, wow.
It actually worked pretty well, surprisingly. And survived.
GoPro?
GoPro, yeah, this exact one. This actually is working great. Like, really, really well. I think this could be a new thing for us doing masonry block fill. This is really, really nice. And see how it doesn't slow it down too much. It's still got a little bit of a splash to it, so it can pound in the cells. The 2-inch hose almost slows it down too much, where it doesn't have that force to push it into the blocks. Yeah, this is something else. You guys used to line pump all this kind of stuff?
We usually do brick or parkade work.
Oh, okay.
So we're in the parkade right now. We usually just pump it.
Right.
We'll just pour it ourselves, right?
Used to be a lot of guys who would line pump this elevated stuff because they had this impression, I think it's from back in the old days.
Yeah.
You couldn't slow a boom pump down enough for this kind of work.
Yeah, it's as far as I was concerned, we were gonna have a line pump here today. Thank God it wasn't.
That's way easier, man. You pay
Fuck.
for the entire pour, you're gonna pay like an extra maybe 150 bucks.
Yeah.
But like no mass, so much faster.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, I like the boom pump makes way more sense for shit like this. If you're on the ground, whatever, but.
Fortunately for you guys, we don't charge enough money for the boom pump. That's why the price difference is so small.
Yeah.
It's such a weird scale. It's so weird. The machine's 3 times the price of a line pump. The maintenance is triple. Like,
Oh yeah.
I don't know how the pricing structure ever evolved to what it is, but it does not make sense.
It's crazy how cheap some guys can be, thinking they're going to save a shitload of money when they're just wearing their guys out for one, pouring concrete by hand all the time.
Especially these days, like
Yeah.
guys just won't put up with it. The only real downfall to the lay flat here is if we don't reach, because you can't really lay it out. You can push it a little bit, but you can't lay it out like you would a regular hose and spray it. So, but I think we'll be okay for reach. We should be bang on. You're gonna be famous. You'll be on YouTube. I'll leave you some stickers before I go for the channel.
Awesome.
Famous in the concrete industry, which in the grand scheme of things is yeah, no.
Slow it down a bit.
Yep.
Right here. Slow it down a bit?
Yeah, it's just draining now.
Okay.
Pumps off, just draining. I'll turn it on a little trickle. Kind of want that to pound through the bar, right? Like we're doing right now.
What was that?
So you kind of like it pounding through the bar like that now, right?
Yeah, oh yeah.
The steady flow would probably just hang up.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Oh, that's working good.
Okay. Because I'm pretty close for reach, I'm gonna have to push on it a bit. Are you okay with going out to the end and working back?
Yeah, let's do that.
Good. It just sucks having to push at the end. It ends up becoming inevitably messy. So.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll come down if you can kind of push the hose out a little bit and probably helps that we got that flexible 3 on there. As soon as this thing fills up though, I bet it's gonna have a tendency to kind of pull back like any hose would, but even more so with this thing. Okay, I'll open it up, see what we get here. Oh yeah. Okay. No, this is my only job today.
Oh, yeah,
so
nice.
far. The way the market's evolved, it sort of is a one job a day market.
Yeah,
I mean,
I kind of figured.
but they usually don't go, I don't want to jinx it, they usually don't go quick like this.
Yeah.
Like these days, every job we get, concrete's late, something's not ready. Like you can't schedule a second one until you know you're pretty much done the first. It's really different.
That makes sense.
The traffic is so bad, and like when I first 25 years ago, I used to do like 3, 4, 5 a day.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. At least with a firewall, I mean, like you said, you never really know, but most of the time it's
most of the time. But I've seen guys pour it really wet, and their grout pops out, and the grout's only been in for an hour or two.
Yeah.
And they're trying to pour the same afternoon, and it's just like,
Just wait the extra day or two and let it set. You know?
I know it would seem obvious, right? But yeah, you see some pretty wild stuff out there.
Oh yeah. Should be getting close.
Okay, I'll cut him off, and I'll hang out in case you guys need anything to top up. I'm not in a rush, so. Overall, that was actually awesome. 2-inch, a little more control with that for sure, but I think our market is pretty specific for even having this as an option. So I would say for 95% of situations where you want to use a boom pump for block fill, I would 100% recommend this 3-inch lay flat hose. I don't know how the larger sizes, the 4-inch or the 5-inch would do with dampening the flow, but this was really quite good. The only negative, if we don't reach, you can't really push it or lay it out like you would a regular hose. But aside from that, yeah, I would definitely use this again. So we'll just hang out here, make sure the guys got enough. I'm not in a hurry. This is the only job this morning, so. And then we'll go back down and check out the clean-out process. So doing some top up here, a couple buckets. Man, oh man, how handy is the air cuff for this? Oh, so nice. Open the cuff, dribble a half a bucket. Open the cuff, dribble a half a bucket.
That other half of the
This thing is it's a luxury, that's for sure. Another one?
Yeah,
a couple?
I think one more should be pretty close.
One more for the insurance policy?
Yeah, why not? Good call. Never know, it shrinks a little bit and we got some empty cells.
One little shot.
Oh yeah.
I'll give you something before I go.
Oh, sweet.
Thank you for starring in Canadian Concrete Pumper.
Thank you.
You see what I did there, right? I thought it was pretty clever. Some of the old guys don't quite get it.
I like it.
The ones that do.
Yeah.
They're dirty old men like me.
Sweet. Thanks, man.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, take it easy. Have a good day.
You too. For anyone wondering why they have a cinder block wall right in the middle of a wood frame building, it's a fire barrier. So if there were to be an incident, obviously it breaks the building into smaller segments rather than one large one. So the fire stop. That'll go all the way down to the suspended slab level, to the concrete structure level, and all the way up on the building. We pour quite a few of these, so get a better look at it there. That's why I'm so excited about this lay flat working out as well as it did. It's a win. It is a win. Okay, so I'm just gonna knock this lay flat hose off, and I'll pump my hopper down back into the mixer through this short stubby rubber. And the method which was recommended to me, and I find works really well for cleaning these lay flat hoses out, kink them off, like so with a strap, load it up with water, lots of water in there. Pretty good. We'll pick it up with the boom. And then we'll unkink it here. Just like that. Nice and clean. Okay, we'll knock this off, pump back in the mixer, check back in when we do the ceremonial sucking of the sponge. All right, just like that, we are done. Essentially, this stuff is just grout with low cement content, so I'm just gonna suck back one sponge, a little water in the elbow. I already preloaded it pretty good. Throw in reverse at a slow rate of speed. About a 2 on the AM dial. And while the pump does that, we'll do our outro. So overall, 100% I would use this again for block fill, the lay flat hose. I do think the 3-inch to 2-inch reducer with a 2-inch rubber hose, I do think it is cleaner. It has definitely potential to be cleaner, and is cleaner. Probably way more of a hassle for most guys in most markets, maybe even for us. This is just easier. It's a 3-inch hose, less likelihood of plugging, less stuff to carry on the pump. The downfalls, you can't lay it out, you can't connect it up to extra hose if you don't reach. But aside from that, convenience, safety, I don't know, I think reducing in steel is pretty safe, especially when you got a double screen on, so I don't know if there's any difference in safety between the two. You can almost argue the rubber hose is more safe because you can't kink it as easily. Tough call. But yeah, I would 100% use this again. I think there will be some guys that are still going to prefer this, but overall, I think the lay flat hose has become the go-to. So yeah, it worked out really, really well. I think we accomplished something meaningful in today's video. So let's check in on our sponge here. Sounds like the ocean to me. Anyhow, you know how it goes. Till next time, keep on pumping. Thanks for watching.